Hello, welcome to episode 326. We're going to do an alternate version of an entity following another entity. We did this in episode 318, and I was using the pos, so I was copying the position from one entity to the other, which is, it's okay, but it's not very efficient. If you're doing it to lots of entities, you really want to use TP instead, as GalSergey suggested, and he showed me some pretty cool commands, so let's get started. We need two scoreboards still, so scoreboard objectives. I've completely forgotten what I have to type. There we go. We're going to have a husk ID, because I'm going to use a husk again. Obviously, you can use any entity. And scoreboard objectives add. And I'm going to add a scoreboard called follower, which I'm going to use as a tag, effectively. Okay, so let's get them going. I don't really need to label this, because I'm only going to have two command chains, but let's do it anyway. Good practice. This will be the controller. Okay, what I want to do is I want to summon at all husks an armor stand. I want to give the armor stand a score of 1 for its follower, so I can tag it as a follower, and I want to give the armor stand and the husk the same ID score, and I can do that all with one command, which is the command that GalSergey showed me, and it's pretty cool. So let's have a look. We're going to execute as any entity whose type equals husk. If it's already got an ID though, I don't want to target it. So we'll say unless score at s husk.id equals at s husk.id. So if it's already got a husk ID score, we're not going to do anything. If it hasn't, we're going to store the result in a score at s husk.id. Now this bit we'll come back to, because this bit, the command that's going to store this result, is right at the end of this command we're writing. So we'll come back to this bit. Now we're going to execute the command at the husk, and we're going to summon an armor stand. Now I'm using an armor stand because it's very visual, so you can see it. If you don't need any of the special abilities that an armor stand has, don't use it. Use a display entity or use a marker. Okay, so, and once I've summoned that armor stand, we will now be executing as that armor stand. So I will store success as a score in that armor stand, its follower score. Okay, so we've got two commands here waiting for stuff. We've got one waiting for his result, that's the husk's ID. We've got the armor stand waiting for a success, that's its follower ID. And we're also going to store a result in a score at s husk ID. So now we have the armor stand waiting for its success to put 1 in its follower. We have the armor stand and the husk waiting for a result to put that result into their husk ID. And we're going to use run scoreboard players add. I need a fake player. I call them ID holder. And we are going to increment their husk ID by 1. Okay. Cool. So the result of that will be successful. That will be a 1. So the armor stand will have a 1 in its follower score, or its success result. Its actual result, well, it's going to go up each time it finds a husk, and it will copy that score into the husk ID of the armor stand and the husk. Okay. Whew. Right. Make sure it's repeating. It is. Now I want to teleport the armor stand to the husk that has the same ID. So we will execute as entity type equals armor stand, and I'll say it again, if you don't need an armor stand, don't use one. Use something else like a marker or a display entity. Scores equals follower, so I'm only targeting the followers. Positioned as any entity type equals husk if the score at S, if the score of the armor stand husk.id, so if its ID score equals any entity, type equals type equals husk, there we go, distance equals 0 to 0.1, and remember we can get rid of the zeros. Why is it not working? We have to limit this. So we will limit it to 1, and we'll check its husk ID, and if they're the same, we will run TP the armor stand or display entity or marker to the husk, because we're positioned as the husk. Done. And now let's make sure we don't have any lonely armor stands. If the husk dies, we want the armor stand to die, so we will execute as any entity, type equals armor stand, scores equals follower equals 1, add itself, unless there is an entity of type equals husk, distance equals 0 to 0.1, and again we can get rid of those zeros if we want. Run kill the armor stand, add S. Done. Turn it on. Get a husk. Husky egg, husk. They're not going to be silent because they're coming from an egg, so they're going to be noisy. 1, he's got an armor stand. 2, he's got an armor stand, and the armor stands are following them. Let's check out the scoreboard. Objectives, sidebar, and we'll put husk ID. And what we'll see is we have 2, 2, and 1, 1. If we make another one, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. Okay, so that's the 3 and 3, that's the husk ID and its corresponding armor stand, 2, 2, same, and the same for 1, 1. There we go. I thought I would show you that because it's more efficient using the TP instead of copying the position. And this first command where we're doing all that stuff in one go, we're copying an ID to the husk, an ID to the armor stand, and we're tagging the armor stand with a score of 1 for its follower, all in one command. And I thought that was pretty cool and definitely worth showing you. Anyway, thanks to GalSergey for the tips. That's it, just a little update on that one. I will see you soon. Take care, have a nice day. Bye bye.